What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at Luis Hernandez, the icon that came in SBCs the other day with, alongside Varane and obviously the big man Bergkamp. We have done Bergkamp already. We still need to do Varane's review, and there is loads of others. I know people are looking for record breakers and obviously all the SBC players, which we are getting towards. I'm just trying to kind of catch up with everyone. I don't really want to miss too many people, and with these icons, I personally want to give my kind of like 2 pence in to see what they're all about. I know you get the loans for all of them, so that's obviously good for content creators, especially people that do player reviews, because it makes them accessible with having to buy them in tradable version or have to complete their SBC. So that's always perfect for me. So it's always going to be that I'll try and do every single one. This is the base version of Luis Hernandez, and I think back in FIFA, I want to say 17, he was my first icon alongside Laudrup that I managed to pack. I think it's either pack or I went and bought. Obviously coin wise, I weren't quite the same sort of level that that I am now in terms of coins. He has got an 87 version and he has got a 90 version, which is his mid and prime. We will be having a look, or trying to have a look, at every single icon that we can get our hands on. Obviously drafts, impacts, loans, SBCs, whatever we can do, we'll try and get them. But the one thing that I want to know with you guys is, who would you prefer, Luis Hernandez or Hugo Sanchez, the two Mexican strikers? Which one would you have in your team? Let me know down below, and if you are there, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So with Luis Hernandez, he is a 4-star skiller with the 3-star weak foot. Unfortunately for an icon, he is coming in at about 457,000 on the Xbox in terms of SBC, and 427 on the PlayStation. So quite a big price tag, and I think straight off the bat, the 4-star, 3-star for me would be not necessarily a deal breaker, but I would consider why I can't just go and get someone who's 4-4. There's plenty of them out there, and there's plenty of them with the kind of stats that Hernandez possesses. And I think he does have some really nice stats in general. He is 5'9" with a right foot, and he has got a high medium work rate attacking, 2 defensive with an average body type, and he has no traits that kind of come towards, just chip shot and speed dribbler that is the computer AI orientated. In terms of his stats then, we've got cracking pace 93, which I believe, if I do have a quick research of it, is his best pace on a card. Obviously his shooting is only 84, so it's not necessarily the greatest in terms of the other two versions. We've got 87 on his mid and 88 on his prime, which I'll do like a little bit of a comparison on the end review if you want to wait until then. We have got 80 composure, which again, it's just scraping by, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to kind of keep you as such till team of the year, until other special comes out. I feel like you may be wasting your coins with this, but we'll have a look at the SBC and we'll kind of judge for ourselves how you could actually do it in terms of untradeable stuff and get you there basically. 91 agility, which is always nice. With the 79 balance, it kind of outweighs itself to an extent. We've got 83 reactions with 82 ball control. We've got very average passing in general. Physical, not really there too much. He is alright at heading, 88 jumping with the 90 heading accuracy. Can't complain at that one bit. And then the shooting, obviously with a chem star, will be a hell of a lot better, but is it worth 430k? That's what we're going to decide. We'll go into some gameplay. We'll then have a look at the end review and have a look at it in depth on Footbin. So let's jump into it. So now, how did Hernandez play in game? That's kind of like the be all and end all, I think, with players, is you can look at the stats, you can look at what they read, but are they good? Do they feel nice in the game? Some players just exceed expectations. We see 81 Fred managing to go a good month or so in people's teams. Before then, we look at the Pogbas, we look at the other centre mids that are really high rated, and you think, well, how is an 81 managing to get into a team? Furlan Mendy, only an 83 left back, so surely someone who have higher rated, Alexandro, you look at Teles, they surely are better, but that isn't always the case. You look at the in-games, you look at how they play animation-wise, trait-wise, and you kind of make your opinion there. And I think Hernandez definitely plays better than what his stats do read. Sometimes not necessarily the greatest finishing. He does have a nice shot, but I think in terms of kind of like percentage, how many does he actually get in? I feel like it is kind of like a bit of a half and half, and as a striker, that sometimes can just be the deal breaker in me. I prefer Werner. I think he hits quite a lot in a row and manages to get it, and he did make a good partnership with Bergkamp up front. Very quick, very nice on that kind of like speed dribble almost. It's not necessarily like the skill, but just the kind of ability to move around was always nice, and he did bag quite a few goals, which is always handy in a team. But in terms of kind of like, is he worth the coins? Personally, at the minute, looking at the in-games, I'd probably say wait for another icon. This is only the second batch, so there is plenty coming out soon. So if we do go into the overall then, so as we can see, 457, 427 for the SBC, get the info back. In terms of tradable value, 477 and 487, so we have now got kind of like a shift in pattern where the tradable card is more expensive than the SBC, not by much, but obviously, but I think tradable coins compared to untradable is obviously a lot different. And in terms of the SBC, I know we might have to scroll down a little bit, we'll go to icons. In terms of his SBC, then what have we got to give up? So we get the bronze and silver out the way, very simple there. We get the standard team of the week one, which is an 80 rated team with 1 in form. Then we have an 81 rated with 1 in form. We have an 85 and 2 86s. So to be honest, in terms of grindable, that isn't bad at all. Like that very much is easy to grind by any means. 2 86 rated teams, very simple. 185 and then 8180. You're not really going to struggle too much with that, and I can see why the value now is quite low in terms of what you've got to give up. I think these two just disregard. You can do bronze pack to silver pack method. Very easy. Lose very minimal coins, if anything, if you do not get anything in the bronze pack method. Obviously the 80 to 81 you can do with pretty much fodder from a weekend. Very easy to do. 85 you could probably do with rewards and stuff like that, and then I think 86s, then you've got to be looking at possibly doing some upgrade packs, looking to kind of go with that grind of going bronze, silver to gold, and then obviously to either gold rares or then straight into double upgrades or something like that. And in terms of what you've given up, is there a 1 in form in this one? There's a 1 in form in this one, so that's where the kind of expensive side of it goes. In terms of what it looks like, you've got an 88 Edison, very simple, and then obviously an 89, 87, and then we can whack everything else down really low. 86 in form Thiago Silva. Again, you want to be looking, like I always say, in terms of new team of the weeks, especially one with so much kind of like supply right now. You're looking at something like a Fernando, I would say, or even a Digne would be quite cheap to try and snipe. Obviously 29 on here, more than likely you can get that for cheaper, and especially during lightning rounds, if you are looking to finish any of them SBCs, always look at the current team of the week, or if there is a like best of out like right now, then I don't know if I can find it here, but then look at maybe the low rated ones, but more than likely they're not going to be as cheap just because they are best of. They're the best players, unless they put someone in there that literally is just fodder. He's going to be one that's packed the most, so always make sure of that. But in terms of Luis Hernandez, if we can get back to him, let's just type him in here. We have got the Mexican links. So Hugo Sanchez is the second icon as a striker. Like I say, who would you prefer down below? We've got Corona as a right mid in form. We've got Lozano as a second in form right mid. And then really it kind of just tails off. We will get probably some more informs and special cards as we go forward, but predominantly a lot of them are strikers. We've got Jimenez for Wolves. We've got Chikorita for LA Galaxy, and then really it's kind of like Herrera and Vela. That's really about it. So there isn't too many nation links that you can go with, but obviously he is an icon, so it really doesn't matter who you go with. It's just kind of like that nice Mexican team that you could go with, but unfortunately that's going to be a while until it happens. And then obviously we have got all of the icons that we can link him with, and I remembered we're not going to be able to find him again in that bunch because he's not that high rated. But in terms of his overall, I think he's an okay card. I wouldn't say he's like the icon that I'm going out to try and find. He's definitely not the worst one that I've played with. And obviously, if you do whack a finisher on him, you are looking at an 89 rated striker. Very good finishing and shooting stats throughout. Then some really nice dribbling as well, taking that balance up to the 84. Agility goes to 99. And obviously, his dribbling goes to 99 as well. So there is kind of like a nice market for him. But I just think he's not necessarily worth the 457 tradable coins whatsoever. If you do have it all untradeable and you don't really fancy a Bergkamp, you don't really fancy as a Varane, but you want to do an icon, then possibly he is the cheapest. I will say that the cheapest one in the first set, which obviously was Van der Sar, he was awful. So just be careful of doing any SBCs like this, because we know that there's going to be more sets coming out soon. Maybe you want to keep your fodder. There is so many SBCs flying. Don't get sucked into just having to do one just because you've got a duplicate. I know I did my base icon just because I got a duplicate Son and ended up rinsing the club in terms of golds for that icon. And luckily, I did get something out of it, which will be the next review. So make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next one. Peace.